In the vibrant city of New Orleans, a young boy named Kai was known for his infectious laughter and boundless energy. At just 14 years old, he had a spirit that could light up any room. His father, Malik, a respected FBI agent, had recently gifted him a brand new bicycle, a symbol of freedom and adventure that Kai cherished more than anything else. The bicycle was more than just a mode of transportation. It was a testament to the bond between father and son, a bond that would soon be tested in ways neither could have imagined. One sunny afternoon, Kai decided to take his new bicycle for a spin around the neighborhood. The wind rushed through his hair as he pedaled, the rhythmic sound of the tires against the pavement filling him with a sense of joy and freedom. He was on his way to meet his friends at the local park, a place where they often gathered to play basketball and share stories. The anticipation of the day's adventures made his heart race with excitement. As Kai turned onto a quieter street, he noticed a police officer standing on the curb. Officer Thompson, a veteran of the force, had a reputation for being stern and unyielding. His gaze lingered on Kai, and there was something in the boy's carefree demeanor and the gleaming bicycle that seemed to irritate him. Officer Thompson stepped into the street, raising a hand to signal Kai to stop. Kai slowed to a halt, his initial surprise quickly replaced by a sense of unease. Officer Thompson approached, his expression hard and suspicious. Without introduction, he began interrogating Kai, demanding to know where he got the bicycle and why he was in such a hurry. Kai explained that it was a gift from his father and that he was on his way to the park, but Officer Thompson scoffed, suggesting that perhaps Kai's father was involved in something illegal. The officer's questions grew more hostile, and Kai tried to explain again that he had done nothing wrong. As he attempted to leave, Officer Thompson accused him of trying to flee, implying that Kai had stolen the bike. Kai insisted he wasn't a thief, but the officer's anger boiled over. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a pair of brass knuckles, striking Kai with brutal force. The impact sent Kai sprawling to the ground, his head ringing from the blow. Pain exploded across his face as he hit the pavement, the world around him blurring. Passers-by began to gather, drawn by the commotion. Officer Thompson quickly fabricated a story, accusing Kai of trying to steal his gun and claiming the boy was a thief who had resisted arrest. The officer grabbed Kai by the arm and hauled him to his feet, ignoring his protests and the murmurs of the crowd. He escorted Kai to the police station, his grip rough and his voice curt as he continued to spread his fabricated story. At the station, Officer Thompson recounted his version of events to his colleagues, painting Kai as a dangerous criminal. The other officers listened intently, nodding along as the story unfolded. They commended Thompson for his swift action, fueling his arrogance. Kai was placed in a holding cell, his body aching and his spirit heavy. As the officers processed the incident, they began asking for details about Kai's background. When they discovered that his father, Malik, was a high-ranking FBI agent, the mood in the station shifted dramatically. The realization hit them like a cold wind, and the officers who had so readily believed Officer Thompson's story began to grow uneasy. Malik, upon hearing the news, rushed to the station, his presence commanding. He demanded to speak to the chief of police, and his voice carried an edge that left no room for argument. The chief listened intently as Malik recounted the ordeal, his expression growing grim as the accusations piled up. Malik insisted that the officer's actions be investigated immediately, and the chief, caught off guard, agreed. Meanwhile, a video recorded by a homeless man who had witnessed the incident began to circulate rapidly online. The footage, titled "Officer Beats Innocent Boy," sparked outrage. Inside the station, the chief reviewed the CCTV footage, which confirmed the viral video's claims. The officer was suspended, and charges were brought against him. News of the incident spread rapidly, with protests erupting in the days that followed. The boy's story became a rallying cry for justice and equality. Malik, determined to ensure that no other child would endure what his son had faced, became an advocate for reform, attending forums and meetings to share Kai's story. For Kai, the experience was a painful reminder of the harsh realities he faced, but he found strength in his father's unwavering support and the overwhelming public response. He returned to the park with his friends, reclaiming the joy that had been stolen from him. Together, they played the game they had planned weeks ago, a small but significant step toward normalcy. The case left a lasting impact on the community and the nation at large, serving as a reminder of the power of accountability and the importance of standing against injustice. Kai's story, though painful, became a beacon of hope for those fighting for a better future. As the days turned into weeks, Kai and Malik continued to navigate the aftermath of the incident. The public's attention shifted to other stories, but their commitment to justice remained steadfast. Kai focused on his studies and his friendships, finding solace in the routine of daily life. Malik continued his advocacy work, driven by the belief that change was possible. One evening, as Kai sat at the dinner table with his father, he reflected on the journey they had endured together. The experience had changed him, but it had also strengthened his resolve. He knew the world could be cruel, but he also knew the power of standing up for what was right. "Dad," Kai said, breaking the silence, "I want to do something more. I want to help others who might be going through what I went through." Malik looked at his son, pride shining in his eyes. "I think that's a wonderful idea, Kai. What do you have in mind?" Kai thought for a moment before replying, "I want to start a community program. Something that teaches kids about their rights and how to stand up for themselves. Maybe we can even teach them about biking safety and how to handle situations like mine." Malik nodded, a smile spreading across his face. "That sounds like a great plan. Let's do it together." Over the next few months, Kai and Malik worked tirelessly to bring their vision to life. They reached out to local schools, community centers, and even the police department, seeking support and partnerships. Their efforts paid off, and soon the Ride for Rights program was born. The program aimed to educate young people about their rights, teach them about bike safety, and foster a sense of community and empowerment. Kai and Malik led workshops, organized bike rides, and even hosted guest speakers who shared their own stories of overcoming adversity. Word of the program spread quickly, and it wasn't long before Ride for Rights became a staple in the community. Parents praised the initiative, and kids flocked to the events, eager to learn and be a part of something meaningful. Kai found a new sense of purpose, and his father watched with pride as his son grew into a leader and advocate for change. As the program gained momentum, Kai and Malik received an unexpected visitor one day. A woman named Maria, a local journalist, had heard about their work and wanted to write a feature story on the Ride for Rights program. She spent hours interviewing Kai and Malik, listening to their stories and observing the impact of their work on the community. Maria's article, titled "From Tragedy to Triumph: The Inspiring Story of Kai and Malik," was published in the city's largest newspaper. It detailed Kai's ordeal, his father's fight for justice, and their joint efforts to create positive change in the community. The article struck a chord with readers, and soon Kai and Malik were receiving invitations to speak at events and conferences across the country. Their journey took them to cities large and small, where they shared their story and the message of Ride for Rights. They spoke to audiences of all ages, inspiring them with their tale of resilience and determination. Along the way, they met other advocates and activists, forging connections and partnerships that strengthened their mission. One such connection was with a national organization dedicated to promoting bike safety and advocating for the rights of young people. The organization was impressed with the work of Ride for Rights and offered to provide funding and resources to help expand the program's reach. Kai and Malik eagerly accepted the offer, seeing it as an opportunity to make an even greater impact. With the newfound support, Ride for Rights grew exponentially. New chapters were established in cities across the country, each led by passionate individuals committed to carrying on the mission of Kai and Malik. The program's curriculum was expanded to include more topics such as mental health awareness, conflict resolution, and leadership development. As the program continued to grow, Kai and Malik reflected on how far they had come. What began as a tragic incident had blossomed into a movement that was changing lives and communities. They knew that their work was far from over, but they also knew that they were on the right path. One sunny afternoon, as Kai and Malik led a bike ride through the streets of New Orleans, they couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. The city that had once been the backdrop to a painful injustice was now a symbol of hope and change. They rode side by side, the wind rushing through their hair, and the rhythmic sound of the tires against the pavement filling them with a sense of joy and freedom. As they approached the park where it all began, Kai looked over at his father and smiled. "Thanks, Dad," he said, his voice filled with gratitude, "for everything." Malik returned the smile, his eyes reflecting the love and pride he felt for his son. "We did it together, Kai, and we'll keep doing it, one ride at a time." And so, Kai and Malik continued their journey, side by side, their bond stronger than ever. They knew that the road ahead might be filled with challenges, but they also knew that they had the strength and determination to overcome anything that came their way. Together, they would ride for rights, inspiring others to join them on the path to a brighter future. As the Ride for Rights program continued to expand, Kai and Malik found themselves at the forefront of a national conversation about justice, equality, and the power of community activism. Their story resonated with people from all walks of life, and they became symbols of hope and resilience. They were invited to speak at schools, universities, and even on national television, where they shared their message with an ever-growing audience. One day, Kai received a letter from a young girl named Lily, who lived in a small town in the Midwest. Lily had read about Kai's story in a newspaper article and was inspired by his courage and determination. She wrote to him, sharing her own experiences with injustice and her desire to make a difference in her community. Kai was touched by Lily's words and decided to reach out to her, offering his support and encouragement. Over the next few months, Kai and Lily exchanged letters, sharing their stories and dreams for a better future. Kai offered Lily advice on how to start her own community program, and Lily kept Kai updated on her progress. Their correspondence blossomed into a friendship, and Kai found himself inspired by Lily's passion and dedication. Meanwhile, Malik continued his advocacy work, traveling the country to speak at events and conferences. He became a sought-after speaker, known for his powerful and inspiring talks on justice, equality, and the power of community activism. He used his platform to raise awareness about the issues facing young people and to advocate for policy changes that would protect their rights and ensure their safety. As Malik's profile grew, he began to receive invitations to meet with lawmakers and policymakers who were eager to hear his insights and ideas. He used these opportunities to push for meaningful reforms, such as increased funding for community programs, stricter regulations on police conduct, and greater protections for the rights of young people. His advocacy work began to yield results as lawmakers took notice of his passion and commitment to justice. One of Malik's most significant achievements was the passage of a new law that required all police officers to undergo mandatory training on de-escalation techniques, implicit bias, and the rights of young people. The law, which was named after Kai, was hailed as a major step forward in the fight for justice and equality. Malik was invited to the White House to witness the signing of the law, and he stood proudly beside the president as the historic moment unfolded. As Kai and Malik continued their work, they began to see the ripple effects of their efforts in communities across the country. Young people were standing up for their rights, advocating for change, and making a difference in their communities. The Ride for Rights program continued to grow, with new chapters springing up in cities and towns from coast to coast. Kai and Malik were humbled and inspired by the outpouring of support and the impact of their work. One day, Kai received a phone call from Lily, who had exciting news to share. She had successfully launched her own community program inspired by the Ride for Rights model, and it was already making a difference in her town. Lily invited Kai to visit and see the program in action, and he eagerly accepted. When Kai arrived in Lily's town, he was greeted with a warm welcome from the community. He spent the day observing the program, which included workshops on rights education, bike safety, and leadership development. He was impressed by the enthusiasm and dedication of the young people involved, and he was proud to see the impact that Lily's program was having on the community. As the day came to a close, Kai and Lily stood side by side, watching as the young people gathered for a group photo. Kai couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment, knowing that he had played a small part in inspiring Lily to make a difference in her community. He looked over at Lily and smiled, grateful for the friendship and the shared journey that had brought them to this moment. Meanwhile, Malik continued his advocacy work, pushing for further reforms and advocating for the rights of young people. He became a prominent figure in the national conversation about justice and equality, and his voice was sought after by lawmakers, policymakers, and the media. He used his platform to raise awareness about the issues facing young people and to advocate for policy changes that would protect their rights and ensure their safety. As Malik's profile grew, he began to receive invitations to speak at international conferences and events where he shared his insights and ideas with a global audience. He became a sought-after speaker known for his powerful and inspiring talks on justice, equality, and the power of community activism. He used these opportunities to advocate for meaningful reforms and to inspire others to join the fight for a better future. One of Malik's most significant achievements was the establishment of an international coalition dedicated to promoting the rights of young people and advocating for justice and equality. The coalition, which included representatives from countries around the world, worked to share best practices, advocate for policy changes, and support community programs that empowered young people. Malik was elected as the coalition's first chairperson, and he led the organization with passion and dedication. As Kai and Malik continued their work, they began to see the ripple effects of their efforts in communities around the world. Young people were standing up for their rights, advocating for change, and making a difference in their communities. The Ride for Rights program continued to grow, with new chapters springing up in cities and towns from coast to coast and around the globe. Kai and Malik were humbled and inspired by the outpouring of support and the impact of their work. One day, Kai and Malik received an invitation to attend an international conference on justice and equality, where they were to be honored for their contributions to the fight for a better future. They traveled to the conference, eager to share their story and to learn from others who were making a difference in their communities. As they stood on the stage, accepting their award, Kai and Malik looked out at the sea of faces before them. They saw young people from around the world, united in their commitment to justice, equality, and the power of community activism. They felt a sense of pride and accomplishment, knowing that they had played a small part in inspiring this global movement. Kai looked over at his father and smiled, grateful for the journey they had shared and the bond that had grown stronger with each passing day. He knew that the road ahead might be filled with challenges, But he also knew that they had the strength and determination to overcome anything that came their way. Together, they would continue to ride for rights, inspiring others to join them on the path to a brighter future. As the conference came to a close, Kai and Malik reflected on the incredible journey they had undertaken together. What began as a tragic incident had blossomed into a global movement that was changing lives and communities around the world. They knew that their work was far from over, but they also knew that they were on the right path. With renewed determination, Kai and Malik set out to continue their mission, inspired by the knowledge that they were part of a global community dedicated to justice, equality, and the power of collective action. They knew that the road ahead might be filled with challenges, but they also knew that they had the strength, the courage, and the unwavering support of a global movement behind them. Together, they would ride for rights, inspiring others to join them on the path to a brighter future. And as they pedaled forward side by side, they knew that they were not alone, that they were part of a global community united in their commitment to justice, equality, and the power of collective action. With each turn of the wheel, they moved closer to their goal, inspired by the knowledge that they were making a difference in the world and that their journey was far from over.